Every piece of suffering you feel in modern life makes perfect sense. It just makes sense for the wrong world. That is the thing nobody tells you. Your anxiety, your restlessness, your inability to sit still and just be happy, none of it is broken. All of it is working exactly as designed. The design is simply 50,000 years out of date. Imagine a storage room. Inside that room sits a piece of machinery, precision built, finely tuned. Every gear, every sensor, every response mechanism calibrated perfectly for one specific environment. Now imagine someone picked up that machine and dropped it in the middle of a city it was never designed for. The machine would keep running, keep responding, keep doing exactly what it was built to do. And it would fail constantly. Not because it's broken, but because nothing around it matches what it was built to handle. That machine is you. Go back, not a few centuries, not to ancient Rome or the Egyptian pyramids. Go back 50,000 years, before agriculture, before cities, before language even had words for the things we stress about today. You are a member of a small group. 30, maybe 50 people. You have known every single one of them your entire life. Your survival depends on them. Completely. If you are cast out of this group, you die. Not metaphorically, not socially. You die. The savannah does not forgive individuals. Every day is a calculation. Where is the food? Where is the danger? Who in the group is angry with you? Who do you need to impress? Which plants are safe? Which shadows could be moving? There is no future to plan for beyond the next season. There is no news from 1,000 miles away. There is no stranger's opinion to worry about. The only world that exists is the circle of faces around your fire, the ground beneath your feet, and whatever is moving in the dark just beyond the light. That was the world your brain was built for. And your brain has not changed since. Here is where the science lands. Evolutionary biologists use a term called the environment of evolutionary adaptedness, the EA. It refers to the conditions under which a species' traits were selected. The psychological traits you carry, the fear responses, the social anxieties, the need for belonging, the hypervigilance, the restlessness, all of them were selected in that world, not this one. Evolutionary psychologist John Tooby and anthropologist Leda Cosmides spent decades mapping this. Their argument, which became the foundation of the entire field of evolutionary psychology, was simple and devastating. The human mind is not a general-purpose computer that adapts cleanly to new inputs. It is a collection of highly specific programs, each one written to solve a very specific ancient problem. And those programs run whether or not the problems still exist. The program that detects social rejection, for example, fires with the same intensity whether you are being exiled from a hunter-gatherer tribe or whether someone didn't text you back. Your nervous system registers both events with nearly identical chemical urgency, because for most of human history, social rejection and death were separated by a matter of weeks. The scale of the threat changed. The response system did not. And this is where it gets strange, because you would think the obvious solution is that evolution would catch up, that over thousands of years, living in cities and farms and offices, the old programs would slowly rewrite themselves. That natural selection would trim away the parts of us that no longer fit. But evolution doesn't work on that timescale. Not for brains. Not for something this complex. Agricultural civilization is only about 12,000 years old. Cities with more than 1 million people have existed for barely a blink. Your smartphone has been in your hand for 15 years. From evolution's perspective, none of that has happened yet. You are still, biologically, the person crouching by that fire, watching the dark, listening for movement. And here's what nobody talks about. The mismatch isn't just uncomfortable. It is the source of almost every chronic psychological condition that defines modern life. Not because people are weak, not because of individual failure, but because we are running programs that were never meant to process the inputs we are feeding them. Your stress system was designed to handle a lion, a real, immediate, physical threat. Survive it or don't. Either way, the stress ends. But you feed it an inbox, you feed it a mortgage, you feed it a news cycle that never stops, a social hierarchy with 8 billion people in it, a future that extends for decades into uncertainty. The system was built for a sprint. You are asking it to run forever. And it tries. It keeps trying. That is not weakness. That is loyalty to old code. Think about the last time you felt a sudden, inexplicable dread for no clear reason. The vague feeling that something is wrong, even when everything is technically fine. You are in a safe room. You are fed. No one is threatening you. And yet, that feeling has a name in psychology. Researchers call it free-floating anxiety, and it is almost perfectly explained by evolutionary mismatch. Your threat detection system is so sensitive, so finely tuned to catch danger before it arrives, that in the absence of actual danger, it manufactures a signal anyway. It would rather give you 1,000 false alarms than miss one real threat. In the ancient world, that trade-off kept you alive. In your apartment at 2 a.m., it just keeps you awake. Imagine that feeling, that specific late-night wait as your brain doing its job, doing it well, doing it in the wrong century. Your need to compare yourself to others. That is tribal rank calculation. In a group of 50 people, your social position directly affected your access to food, mates, protection. Monitoring your rank was survival. Your brain still runs that calculation. Except now it has social media. Now it runs that calculation against millions of people, all day, every day, with no natural ceiling. There is always someone above you. The algorithm ensures it. Your difficulty being alone. In the ancient world, being alone meant being separated from the group. Being separated from the group meant being exposed. Solitude was a precursor to death. Your nervous system still treats it that way. Even when you are perfectly safe, even when you chose the solitude, some part of you registers it as a warning. Your craving for sugar and fat, not weakness. Caloric intelligence. In an environment where calories were scarce and survival was uncertain, craving the most energy-dense foods available was brilliant strategy. Then someone built a vending machine. None of these are flaws. Every single one was an elegant solution to a real problem. The problem just no longer exists in the form it was designed for. So what do you do with this? You cannot uninstall the software. It is not in the operating system. It is the operating system. But something shifts when you understand it. Something genuinely shifts. When the anxiety rises with no visible cause, you can recognize it not as evidence that something is wrong with you, but as evidence that something ancient in you is still trying to keep you alive. When you feel the pull of comparison, the sting of social exclusion, the restless need for stimulation in a quiet room, you can see it for what it is. Old code. Still running. Still trying. Imagine a soldier in the jungle who was never told the war ended. Still running patrols. Still reacting to every sound. Not broken, not crazy, just loyal to orders that nobody ever canceled. That is your nervous system. That is you, in most of the moments that feel the hardest. The world changed faster than anything in biological history has ever been asked to change to. And you are the creature standing in the middle of that gap, between what you were built for and what you woke up inside of. And the fact that you are still standing, still searching, still asking why you feel the way you feel that too is ancient. That is the same mind that looked up at the stars 50,000 years ago and felt something it had no words for. You were built for a world that no longer exists. And somehow, you are still here.